And welcome, sports fans, to today's Sports Roundtable. Glad you joined us on this Saturday morning, as it's been one busy week, especially for us here at YHC. We brought quite a few games to you this week, including some conference finals last night from Portageville down for the Bootheel Conference Tournament Championship games, and we're going to touch on those here momentarily. But very interesting time of the season. We're heading into the last few weeks of the regular season, so we're seeing a lot of conference tournaments taking place over the last few weeks, and actually there's going to be more coming up this week throughout the area, which we'll touch on a little later. But impressive performances last night down in Portageville, notably with the Varsity Boys game that we had the nightcap with Malden and Portageville. We're going to take a look at those highlights here momentarily. Also, we're going to have along with us Andrew Halford, the Malden basketball coach, here to talk with us this morning about the Green Wave season and looking ahead for the Green Wave. Very impressive season for the Green Wave down there in Malden this year. And we're going to talk to Coach Halford along with us here momentarily. And also we're going to touch on the games that we've got left here, especially for this coming week here on YHC, and give you a little breakdown of the state rankings heading into the last few weeks of the season, and also about all the games that took place over the last few nights in the area. So quite a bit to get to for today, and let's go ahead and roll into the games from last night. First, starting off with the Bootheel Conference Tournament Championship game. This is for the Varsity Championship, and that was Malden defeating Portageville 65-31. A lopsided score there for that championship game. Certainly didn't expect that kind of score, although Malden has had a great run so far this year, and the 4 seed. That was the thing about that Bootheel Conference this year. The top 4 or 5 seeds could make a run for that championship game, and that was the case this year, as Malden as the 4 seed coming into that tournament, coming away with a championship win over the Portageville Bulldogs down in Portageville last night. And we got the highlights from that game last night, so let's take a look at those from Portageville. And taking a look. Well, here we go. And early on, D. Tripwood battling for a tough basket underneath to get the Green Wave started. And here a nice little putback from Bub Lance off the rebound. And here Deshaun Butler getting a nice hang time jumper there in the paint. Here Annister with a nice drive and finish. Broderick Annister for 2 there. And here Deshaun Butler with a tough basket underneath on the dribble. And Ian Torrey starting to get started here with an elbow jumper along the left side. Chance Booker finding some space for 3 along the right wing. And here Hunter Gates getting a nice putback for the Bulldogs. And here a kick out pass to Broderick Annister. He knocks down the 3 on the right side. Ian Torrey with a nice drive and finish there off the glass. And here Torrey gives it up to Gates with a nice finish in the transition. And nice drive put in there by Kirkwood as Portageville start to get some momentum here coming out in the second half. Torrey with a nice fadeaway jumper there. And Gates getting the basket and the foul on that transition bucket. But into the late third and fourth quarters where Malden really started to take over. Butler with another bucket there. A tough one here as well. He really turned it on late in this game. Malcolm McBride on the drive with the finish. Nice finish there for McBride. And here a nice dump down pass to McBride right before the third quarter ended. And here we see a lot of ball movement here. Butler with the finish off the nice pass. McBride all the way to the basket and the foul. And here a dish off pass to Chance Booker knocking down the 3. He knocks down a couple here. Here's another one. Knocks it down from the same spot. It looked like the same exact shot. Knocking that down, and Butler getting a transition bucket there as the Green Wave Crews in that game last night. And mercy clock game, mercy rule with the running clock late in the game, and just did not expect that. But Malden just came out great and aggressive from the outset. The offense was rolling, and you're looking at probably one of the best backcourts in southeast Missouri with the Malden Green Wave, and getting some good minutes from D Triplet. D Triplet's coming in, putting in some big minutes down low, and he's tough to deal with. He's got some good size, 6'1", and that wide frame. He's awful tough to deal with underneath. But man, these guards out front, McBride, Butler, Booker, and also Ontario Reed that's been in there in the mix. And Anniser is kind of like the inside and out guy. He can really put it on the floor, get to the basket, does a great job rebounding, even hit some perimeter shots last night, which we don't see a whole lot of since they got plenty out there to take care of the perimeter game. But very good performances last night from all the Green Wave across the board. And it's one of the surprising teams this year. I knew they were going to be good, but there's some guys that really elevated their game coming into this year and really done well for the Green Wave this year. So your Bootheel Conference Tournament champions for the Varsity Boys, the Malden Green Wave, come away with that tournament championship last night. So congratulations to the Green Wave. And we'll be talking with Coach Andrew Halford here momentarily about that championship game last night and the Malden Green Wave season thus far. And take a look at some other games from last night. And boys basketball, big CMO Conference game last night between these two. Sykeston victorious over Poplar Bluff, 74-56, and it was a close one at half. I think Poplar Bluff had Sykeston at half 29-28, but it was all Sykeston in the second half. And a lot of talent on that floor last night. Two of the probably best players in the area with Fred Thatch from Sykeston, Dominic Hardiman of Poplar Bluff. Didn't see their numbers from last night, but great game there last night. Big win for Sykeston, a much-needed CMO Conference win. Sykeston, believe it or not, on the outside looking in for that CMO Conference regular season title, as Poplar Bluff came in with only a couple regular season or a couple conference wins and undefeated. They only had a couple conference games so far. Sykeston getting the win right now. Charleston leading the way in the CMO Conference, undefeated so far after defeating Sykeston earlier in the year. So we'll see what happens here in the last few weeks if Sykeston can maybe at least get a share of that CMO Conference title this year. And also we got Dexter over Advance. Big Scudder County Conference game there. Went down to the wire. 60-56 victory for the Dexter Bearcats. And the Bearcats down a few players due to injury and even sickness last night. And Advance don't know if if they had any sickness. I know that flu's going around real bad, but big win for the Bearcats coming off that Stoddard County Conference tournament loss to Bertie. Answer back with a big win over Advance. That's a big win, no matter who's on the floor for Advance. Very good team in Advance this year, and Dexter getting a nice victory over them at the Bearcat Event Center Friday night in Dexter. Also, Orion over Bell City, 83-21. The Orion Eagles with a big win over the Bell City Cubs. East Prairie over Scott City, 73-53. Also, we have Farmington over Jackson. Kind of a surprise there, 72-67. The Farmington Knights over the Jackson Indians. And not a conference game there, or a district game for that matter. Farmington in Class 4, Jackson in Class 5. Jackson taking that loss to Farmington Friday night. Also, we've got Cape Central over Kennett in the CMO Conference, 66-38. A team to still look out for there with Cape Central in the conference. They did take a loss to Poplar Bluff last week, or maybe even earlier in the week, but they did take a loss to Poplar Bluff, so Cape Central still there in the mix in the conference, but Cape Central looking good, pretty good so far this year, playing out of Class 4 in the CMO Conference. And Chaffee over Oak Ridge, 72-50. Also, New Madrid County Central over Twin Rivers in a close one, 48-42. And take a look at before we go, Bernie had a victory over. It's getting away from me. Hawkham. I believe it was Bernie over Hawkham last night, and I believe that was a 65-36 win. I believe it was for the Bernie Mules over Hawkham in that game last night. And Portageville over Malden in girls basketball. This was the Bootheel Conference Girls Varsity Championship, and that was a 60-34 victory for the Portageville Bulldogs. Lady Bulldogs winning that conference title last night, and that one came down to the wire in the regular season, and Malden come out with, I think, a 1-point victory in the regular season game, and Portageville responding with a win last night for that conference championship. And we got a few highlights of that one from last night. Taking a look at that. And here, Portageville off to a great start. DeAndre Johnson with a nice basket there. And here, a nice shot up for the Green Wave as Portageville got off to a nice start early, getting the lead early and pretty much kept it for the remainder of the game. Played a really nice transition ball there. Nice Johnson with a basket and the foul, but Reed with a nice drive there from the Lady Green Wave. And really good around the basket in this game for the Lady Bulldogs. Stayed aggressive towards the basket and getting quite a few transition buckets as well. And nice performance on their home court last night from the Lady Bulldogs as they claimed the Bootheel Conference Tournament Championship last night. And of course they play out of Class 3. Both these teams play out of Class 3, so we might not see the end of these two teams for the remainder of the year. We'll see what happens. But Portageville showed up right from the tip, played a strong game, and finished it off for that conference championship last night. And take a look at some other games from last night in the area. In girls basketball, St. Genevieve over St. Vincent, 36-33. Also, we got Woodland over Scott County Central, 58-55. Puxico over Advance, 46-20. Big win for the Puxico Lady Indians. And into Thursday night's game, Saxony Lutheran over Notre Dame, 61-51. Cape Central over New Matter County Central, 58-51. Neelyville over Sykeston, 79-37. The Neelyville Lady Tigers, one of the best teams in the area in girls basketball this year. Really good team there in Neelyville. And Poplar Bluff over Jackson, the SEMO Conference, 43-39. Kennett over East Prairie. 43-38. Dexter over Naylor Thursday night, 67-55. Good girls basketball matchup there. Naylor playing down in Class 1. Pretty good team once again this year. Dexter getting the victory over the Naylor Lady Eagles Thursday night. Scott City over Bloomfield, 35-15. And Oran over Charleston, 83-49. And those are the girls basketball games from the last few nights in the area. And if you want to catch some of those replays from last night in the boys varsity championship of the Bootheel Conference Tournament, we'll be replaying that today here on YHC coming up at noon. Also at 6:30 here on Saturday, and then you can catch it Sunday afternoon at 3. Sunday afternoon at 3, that Malden versus Portageville Varsity Boys Championship game of that Bootheel Conference Tournament. And you can go online. You can watch it on yhctv.com. It's available to watch there. Actually, all 3 of those games from last night, also on our Facebook page online on Facebook. And if you want to catch the girls game, the girls championship from last night, Malden versus Portageville, we'll have that following that game today at 1:30. Also Sunday afternoon at 4:30. And you can catch that one online as well right now online. And the JV game from last night, the JV Boys Championship, Malden versus Hayti. You can catch that today following the girls game at 3. And then Sunday at 6. 3 and today's Saturday at 3, Sunday at 6. And you can catch that one online as well anytime. And those are the games from last night, catch from the weekend. And we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be along with Coach Andrew Halford of the Malden Green Wave. We're going to talk about that game from last night and his season thus far with the Malden Green Wave. And we're going to take a break and be back with Coach Andrew Halford coming up next.
Boots, they've got them all, as well as The best quality meets the best price at Bootheel Boots and Shoes in Malden. They specialize in boots with the most popular brands with Red Wing, Justin, Dan Post, Double H, Air Yacht, Muck, and Doc Martens. Work hunting or western boots, they've got them all, as well as boots for the kids. And for women, they carry the favorites, Clark's, Bourne, and Merrill, and these Sanook Sidewalk Surfers are a big hit for a comfortable slip-on.
Come see us at Bootheel Boots and Shoes,
where we combine low price, great selection, and customer service to give you the best shopping experience.
Why is Vision Source Dexter Family Eye Care different? Our office is doctor-owned, and we view our patients as part of our family. Whether it is the latest in fashion eyewear, the newest contact lenses, or total eye health care, we have one simple vision: to help people see. Using the latest technology, our Vision Source doctors can prescribe the most accurate eyewear, contact lens, and detect early stages of diabetes, heart disease, and hypertension. Experience the most caring and personalized eye care in the area and visit us at Dexter Family Eye Care.
And welcome back, and now we're along with Coach Andrew Halford of the Malden Greenway. We've got Coach Andrew Halford along with over the phone with us. And Coach, big win last night. Congratulations. I know you've got to be feeling good about your season so far, but especially that tournament championship last night down in Portageville.
Absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me. That game last night was a fun one for Greenway fans, a fun one for our kids. It was awesome to be in that situation and come out with that big result.
Sure. Very competitive conference this year, Andrew. I knew going into the season it was going to be very competitive, very good teams down there in that conference. But I think once the season got started, such as y'all have really elevated your game. Some of y'all's individual games, they've really elevated themselves and made the conference even better than expected this year. And you all coming in as a 4 seed. You could have easily been a 1 seed. There's probably just a loss in the season to South Penobscot that maybe just pushed you down a few seeds. But, you were very capable of coming away with the championship even as a 4 seed. So, going into that tournament, you could probably just shuffle those top 5 seeds and it really wouldn't matter much. But that just goes to show how competitive the conference has been this year.
Absolutely.
Big D triplet. He's surrounded, comes in, takes the ball to the glass, scores it for a 3. Up, no.
Being able to come back and put ourselves in a better situation, come out with a win the second time, that's a good bounce back for our kids. I feel like we've had a lot of good competition throughout the year. In the Bloomfield tournament, played Dexter, played Advance early in the year. And we've had some good competition throughout the year. And, our guys have performed well throughout those challenges.
Yeah, it's been a great year for you, Andrew. You really probably turned some heads in the Christmas tournament. You really finished strong. You took Dexter to the wire, the semifinals, come away with 3rd place. And I think at that point, people realized that the Green Wave are for real. And you've had a great 2018 to start. And, you've win this conference tournament last night, especially by the margin you did. People really taking notice of the Green Wave, and you've got one of the best backcourts in the area, I think. With these guys, Butler, Booker, McBride. You've also had Reed and even Anniser contributing out there on the perimeter. You've just Jalen Miller, your sophomore. You've just got a deep backcourt, which they really play well together. You can really see it, how they really have the chemistry out there. But even your front court contributors, with Anniser working in there, even Booker works in there, and getting some valuable minutes out of Triplet. It just seems like everything's working.
You can't forget about Big D.
Yeah, Big D, yeah.
he carves out a lot of space in there.
He really does. But, your backcourt really stands out, Andrew. You just got waves that you can throw at the opposition throughout the game.
Yeah, and the simple thing is just they might not be the most skilled at any one area of the game, but we simplify it and just play hard, guys. Make it as easy as possible. You play hard, and good things are going to happen. And then you mentioned the chemistry. That's awesome for our guys. We got guys that have been playing together for a very long time. They're comfortable with each other. They believe in each other. They know what each other can do, and that shows on the court. Everybody's excited when you're doing well, but when you get in those situations where it's a little iffy, and kids might, want to question one another, they got each other's backs. They're playing hard for one another, which just goes to, it makes our season, makes my job a lot more enjoyable when you know that they're there for each other.
Yep. Yeah, we knew the Green Wave was going to be a good team coming in, because you probably got the most seniors on any roster coming into this year. You played 7 or 8 seniors on the floor.
Yeah.
And we knew you're going to have that experience coming back, but I've been really impressed with the way some of your guys have elevated their games. They were good players last year coming in, but they've elevated to great, I think, this year across the board. Yeah, speak to what your guys have done on the off season coming in, because it's really shown the improvement from last year to this year.
Well, last year, we really only had 2 guys, 3 maybe with varsity experience. The rest were trying to make that transition from the JV to varsity, and that's a big jump that people don't realize. And we struggled, at times in situations like we had last night. We just weren't there yet. And in the off season, our guys just, we've got to take a deep breath and take some time off, but then come back, in open gyms and individual workouts and going to summer camps. That's where our kids continue to thrive, is that, summer weights, just continuing to be in the gym and find a way to get better, work on one thing or another with the coaches or by themselves. We got a guy here in the community that has open gyms. I saw him up here at the elementary this morning, 6 o'clock, and guys go up there, all throughout the year. These guys want to compete at a high level, and they're willing to do the extra stuff, put in the extra time that it takes to do that. And it's not just during the season. They're committed in the off season as well. We have multiple multi-sport athletes that, are coming to football in the morning and then coming to basketball in the evening, or coming to weights in the morning and then coming back to basketball in the evening. Just taking that, that stride during the off season and making that commitment is huge. People don't get to see that, but that's what it shows when you get deep into your season. Basketball's a long one. So once you get into February, you see that, that we're not having as much wear and tear. Our guys are built for it because they're pretty much working out year round.
Sure. Yeah, the success on the football field over the last handful of years has, certainly contributed to, the basketball as well. So that certainly helps. Yeah. Well, you got your conference season out of the way with the championship. Now you're moving on to the last phase of the season. A couple of weeks left, heading towards district time. So that's the next phase of the season, trying to certainly be playing at your best for the last few weeks heading into the district tournament. And it looks like you're pretty much, on your way of playing the best time at the most important time towards the end of the season, heading into, the Class 3 District 1 tournament, which probably most competitive tournament in the area.
Yeah, we got a big test. we don't have time to sit around and enjoy too much. We can be excited for what happened last night, but we got to get ready for Bloomfield on Monday, and then Charleston on Tuesday, Bernie on Friday. So it's just it's right back to it. Our guys are like you talked about. They're older, they're mature, they understand what's next. Like I said, we can enjoy just for a minute, what happened last night, but right back to it against Bloomfield, Charleston on Monday, Tuesday.
Sure, that'll be a big matchup for you Tuesday with Charleston. That's a game to look forward to there, because y'all's both playing Charleston in the Class 3 District 1 this year.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, they're in there with us. We just put the best teams in one district together, and we just all try to beat each other up.
Yeah, I know there was a few years that Charleston was out of there, even though it was already competitive, but they're back in there, and that just takes it to another level. So,
yeah,
but
that's good for us. That high level competition. Whoever makes it out of our district, they're ready for whatever comes next.
Sure, and that's going to be a great district to watch for this year, and I'm really looking forward to that matchup with Charleston Tuesday, because Charleston, very good team this year, leading the way in the CMO Conference right now, and I think y'all are right up there with them, but I'm really looking forward to seeing that matchup and see how y'all take on the Blue Jays. That'll be fun to see how it plays out. So we'll be looking forward to that. And Andrew, I know it's you've got to be pleased with your season so far. I know you've got one of those goals out of the way with the conference title last night, and just want to let you know, people we talk out and about, everybody's talking about the Green Wave, and hey, when's the Green Wave going to be on? And it's been a fun season watching the Malden Green Wave this year, and it's been a real pleasure.
I thank you for your coverage. I thank you for having me. We really appreciate what you guys do.
Sure, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you down the road, Andrew, and good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thank you.
All right. And Andrew Halford, everybody, and great year he's having down there. I've been very impressed with the Green Wave this year and the season they're having, and it's been a real pleasure, covering the Green Wave this year, and big win last night for that Bootheel Conference title. And let's go ahead and move on and take a look at some other games that we did. Let's take a look at the JV game. We've got a little highlight of that JV Conference Championship last night and give them guys a little airtime. Take a look at Malden and Hayti in that JV final, as Hayti victorious in this one, getting off to a good start. And this kid right here, you got to look out for him the next few years. Cordell Jones of the Hayti Indians. He stands at about 6'4", 6'5", from what we could tell up there, and had a big night for the Indians. Nice high-low dish down there from Jones. And three-pointer on the way at the top of the key. Knocks it down as the Indians just pretty much controlled throughout last night. Here, three-pointer good for the Green Wave. Here, Cordell Jones putting on the moves with the dribble all the way to the basket. And spin move up in the paint. Couldn't tell who that one was. Three-pointer out on the perimeter. Good for the Indians. Into the second half here. Nice scoop shot at the basket for the Green Wave. Here, Cameron Meesey stepping into a three, knocking it down along the left wing. And nice finish there at the rim as the Indians took that one last night in Portageville for that JV conference title. Congratulations to the Hayti Indians for that JV championship win. And also take a look at Thursday night. We had a game Thursday night up in Bloomfield, and that was Holcomb and Bloomfield competitive game there. Bloomfield Thursday night. Taking a look at that one. As we see here early on, Holcomb getting out to a good start, but finished there early for the Wildcats. As we see here, Noah Hobbs getting off to a great start for the Hornets. And here, Carson Blair knocking down a three on the left wing. Here's a quick inbound to Noah Hobbs, getting the basket there at the end of the first quarter. And Rosso with a nice scoop shot for the Hornets. Got out to about a 10-point lead early in this one. Noah Hobbs with a nice finish again. And cross-court pass. Three-pointer good along the left side from Rosso. And nice finish there from Peyton Bell for the Wildcats. And Noah Hobbs with another finish. Tough finish for Hobbs for that one into the second half as Bloomfield starts to turn it on. Carson Blair hitting a three along the left side. Nice dish off. A couple of passes there. Peyton Bell finishes it off. And a tough basket by Noah Hobbs in the paint for the Hornets. And Ty Nelden knocking down a three here in the fourth, making it interesting late. But here's where the Bluefield Wildcats start to pull away. Travis McCullough for three. Noah Hobbs with a basket and the foul there. But here Carson Blair knocking down a three on the left side. And he's going to knock down a couple here. Steps into another one on the right wing, knocking that one down. And in the transition here, Peyton Bell all the way to the basket as the Bluefield Wildcats defeated the Holcomb Hornets there. That was a 10-point game. I think that was like a 49-39 score, I think that was, from Thursday night. The Bluefield Wildcats over the Holcomb Hornets. So, busy week. Quite a few games just over the last few nights. 4 games in 2 nights, and even down in Tuesday night down in Marmaduke and Rector Tuesday night as Rector defeated Marmaduke down to the wire in that one from Tuesday night down in Rector. And we're going to take another quick break, and we're going to come back, take a look at the updated state rankings for this week and touch on some other things as well. So we're going to be coming back with that coming up.
Farmers too. So we know that farming's never been a 9-to-5 job. Just like the farmer, we work overtime to bring you whatever it takes. Solutions like InZone help you retain 47% more nitrogen with an overall average increase of 12 bushels per acre. Imagine what InZone can do for you. Ag Explorer.
Hey, we're back again, Sandy Small Engine and the staff. We're the #1 Exmark dealer in Southeast Missouri. We're looking forward to servicing with all the Exmark products.
We're still running a special 10% off all Quest mowers that we have in stock while supplies last.
And we offer all the other steel products for your lawn care, also here at Sandy Small Engine. Let me make it perfectly clear. 0% for 48 months with Exmark, not my wife, Judy.
And welcome back. And before we get to the state rankings, taking a look at nice recognition last night up at Sikeston for that Sikeston Poplar Bluff game as Fred Thatch became the all-time leading scorer at Sikeston. Been a 4-year starter there. A great run for Fred Thatch of Sikeston. And he passed Michael Porter, I think it was earlier in the week or last week, for the all-time leading scorer for the Sikeston Bulldogs. And he passed Michael Porter, also a 4-year starter there in Sikeston back in his day there in the late 2000s, right there around 2009, I think he wrapped up. Might be wrong on that, but Michael Porter actually presented Fred Thatch with basketball last night, recognizing him as the all-time leading scorer for the Sikeston Bulldogs. So a nice little recognition there for Fred Thatch last night in that SEMO Conference game against Poplar Bluff, and worth mentioning because 2 great players. Michael Porter, he was pretty much the start of Sikeston's great run as they came about, and Fred Thatch certainly continuing that great tradition that is Sikeston basketball up there in Sikeston. So great gesture last night by Sikeston to make that happen, and 2 great high school players in the area, certainly in the last decade, there with Michael Porter and Fred Thatch. And now taking a look at those, actually let's take a look at our broadcast schedule coming up this week. Our broadcast schedule, taking a look at the games we've got coming up. Full slate of games this week once again. Monday night we'll be in Dexter at the Bearcat Event Center for Perryville and Dexter. It's a non-conference game there between those two, but that'll be Monday night, 7:30 start at the Bearcat Event Center in Dexter. Tuesday night, Hayti and Bernie, big matchup there. Not a conference game, of course, but it is a big district game. Both of those teams playing in Class 2 District 1, and that could potentially be a district championship preview, which Bernie will be hosting that Class 2 District 1 tournament, so we might see the same 2 teams on the same court come district time in a few weeks. Big game there Tuesday night, Hayti at Bernie, 7:30 start. We'll bring it live to you right here on YHC this coming Tuesday night. Then Thursday, we've got girls basketball, Cape Central at Dexter in the CMO Conference. That'll be Thursday night from the Bearcat Event Center, 7:30 start there. Then Friday, we've got Dexter at Kennett in a CMO Conference matchup. Always a competitive game between those two. And just going back to last year, Jad Kinney knocking down probably a 30-something footer off the glass to win the game for the Kennet Indians. We'll see what happens next Friday night at Kennet for that CMO Conference matchup between the Bearcats and the Indians. So that's the games we've got to bring to you this week here on YHC. And take a look at the updated state rankings coming into this week. In Class 1, North Andrew moves up to number 1 off a loss from Advance. Advance took a loss to Bernie in those semifinals of the Stoddard County Conference last week and pushed them down just 1 to number 2. But the undefeated North Andrew moves up to number 1. There, Eminence just out west, they're at number 3. Certainly can make things interesting in our part of the state in Class 1. 4th, Jamestown. 5, St. Joseph Christian. 6, Medville. 7, Lakeland. 8, Winston. 9, Walnut Grove. And 10, Dora. Dora just out west to us. They're heading out to West Plains. And in Class 2, Sacred Heart at number 1. 2, the Warren Eagles, the defending Class 2 state champs there at number 2, moving up to number 2. They moved up quite a bit in that poll in the last few weeks. 3, Mid-Buchanan. 4, Milan. 5, Thayer. The Thayer out west there at number 5. 6, Fayette. 7, Harrisburg. 8, Hartville. 9, Eugene. And 10, Wellington Napoleon. And in Class 3, Cardinal Ritter at number 1. 2, Whitfield. 3, Mountain Grove. Hallsville. Northwest Academy. Hogan Prep. Charleston Blue Jays. They're at number 7. They've moved down a little bit in that poll. But number 8, St. Paul Lutheran. 9, Saxony Lutheran. They've stayed there at the last few spots in the top 10. And 10, Clark County, rounding out the top 10. And in Class 4, Vashon at number 1. They've been there for the last few weeks, pretty much ever since Sykeston lost against Charleston. Sykeston moved off the number 1 spot down to number 2. That's their only loss so far this year. 3, St. Mary's. 4, Grandview. 5, Rolla. 6, Confluence Prep. 7, Cape Central. Cape Central moving down due to their loss to Poplar Bluff last week. 8, Jennings. 9, Parkway Central. And 10, Raytown South. And in Class 5, Webster Groves, Hazelwood Central, Rockbridge, Chaminade, Lee Summit West, North Kansas City, Fort Zumwalt South, Oak Park, Park Hill South, and Glendale. And take a look at the girls' rankings coming into this week. At number 1, Walnut Grove. For Class 1, 2, Southwest Livingston County. 3, Green City, Norborn, Madison, South Iron, out west, Mountain City, Hermitage, Leeton, and Oric. Moving on to Class 2, Thayer on top at number 1, just out west of us. 2, Skyline. 3, Mid-Buchanan. 4, Blue Eye. 5, the Oriental Lady Eagles. They're in the 5 spot. 6, Neelyville. Neelyville there at number 6. 7, Stanberry. 8, Hartville. 9, Fordland. And 10, South Shelby. And that's going to be a very competitive Class 2 come district time and even to the state tournament. We got some local teams there amongst the top 6 with Thayer, Orion, and Neelyville. Should be interesting come district time. In Class 3, Stratford on top at number 1 as they have all year. 2, South Callaway. Then Trenton, Whitfield, Clark County, Licking, Park Hill Central, the Lady Rebels. A bit up north there at number 7 with only 1 loss so far coming into this week. Number 8, Mount Vernon, Cardinal Ritter, and Barstow. And take a look at Class 4, Incarnate Word. I think about the 3 or 4 time defending state champions on top as they've been the last number of years. 2, Benton, followed by Lincoln Prep, Kearney, Parkway North, Carl Junction. 7, the Dexter Lady Bearcats coming into the week at 15-3 with a couple more wins this week. 8, Country Day. 9, St. Dominic, and rounding out 10 is Sullivan. And in Class 5, Kirkwood, number 1, followed by North Kansas City, Kickapoo, Rockbridge, Park Hill South, Lee Summit West, St. Joseph's, Lee Summit North, Nixa, and Waynesville for the top 10 in Class 5. And those are the state rankings for this week. In high school basketball, seeing quite a few of our teams there in the top 10s for boys and girls basketball in the area. So it's going to be very interesting coming district time. There's quite a few teams in there not ranked that have had some difficult stretches in the year. What really stands out is probably Class 2. I know Oran's right there at number 2 in Class 2, but Hayti and Bernie is going to be right there in the mix in Class 2, make it very interesting. So Oran's in Class 2 District 2, Hayti and Bernie playing out at Class 2 District 1, and that's going to be a very interesting district come the end of the year there in Class 2 District 1. So I wouldn't, Hayti and Bernie could easily be in that top 10. They've just had some difficult stretches this year, and but they're certainly capable of being in that top 10, and wouldn't be surprised if either one of those end up sharing the top 10 with Oran come the end of the year. So we'll see what happens, but some very good matchups, especially Class 2 in the girls. You see there with Thayer, Neelyville, and Oran. They're going to be matching up at some point, those three teams, and in some form, come either district or state tournament time. So very competitive Class 2 once again this season. And we're going to take a break, and we're going to give you a little Super Bowl preview coming up. It is Super Bowl weekend, and we're going to talk just briefly about that, and we'll be back in just a moment.
For more than 75 years, the law firm of Crowe, Reynolds, Shetley, McVeigh & Shear, LLP, has served the legal needs of Southeast Missouri. Located at 308 1st Street in Kennett, Crowe, Reynolds, Shetley, McVeigh & Shear, LLP is a full-service law firm providing representation in a wide range of areas, such as personal injury, workers' compensation, family law, criminal law, probate, business, and estate planning. For all your legal needs, call Crowe, Reynolds, Shetley, McVeigh & Shear, LLP at 573-888-4664.
Tired of the same old burger? Well, the Lemonade House Grill in Dexter has some of the best handcrafted burgers around, including the Memphis King Burger and the local favorite Bearcat Burger. Other favorites include the Gulf Coast Tacos and chicken salad every Friday. They are the true Lemonade House, offering up to 19 flavors with fresh squeezed lemon delight. Call ahead and use their pickup window and utilize their party room for your next gathering. Lemonade House Grill, located on the East-North Outer Road in Dexter.
When you connect with high-speed internet from New Wave Communications, you unlock all kinds of possibilities. More gaming, more streaming and viewing, more ways to keep in touch, more ways to learn. And best of all, adding New Wave internet to your current television package won't cost a lot more thanks to New Wave's bundle discounts. In fact, if you're paying another provider for internet, switching to New Wave will probably save you money. Call or go to newwavecom.com to find more ways to bundle and save.
And big weekend, Super Bowl weekend, as the New England Patriots, the defending world champions of the NFL, taking on the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. Interesting matchup. The Eagles coming off a dominant victory over the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship game. Backup quarterback Nick Foles played just outstanding, just throwing it all over the field, just routing the Minnesota Vikings, rolling into the Super Bowl as underdogs. They were underdogs in both of their home playoff games, even as the number one seed, largely due to Carson Wentz going down late in the season. Backup Nick Foles coming in and played quite well in that NFC Championship game. And they're going up against the New England Patriots, looking for their third Super Bowl in 4 years, much like they did in the early 2000s with their run in their first three titles. They've got two of the last three, one last year, looking to repeat once again this year. And New England hasn't had quite the I would say the competition coming into this year's playoffs as they had in years past. The Titans and then the Jacksonville Jaguars. All the Jaguars did give them all they wanted. Had a 10-point deficit to overcome in the fourth quarter at home for that AFC Championship game. And going to be playing a very good defense once again. The Patriots taking on the Eagles, one of the best defenses in the league. And you got a very good defensive front. Their front seven, very good, especially their pass rushers. I think they have about a combination of about 7 players that they bring in, especially those interior guys led by Fletcher Cox. Can really make things difficult for opposing quarterbacks. So we'll see what happens. I know Tom Brady's a big storyline, 40-year-old quarterback, looking to be the oldest quarterback to win a Super Bowl, although it's him and him and Peyton Manning winning Super Bowls at 39. He's just trying to outdo himself at 40 to win a Super Bowl at the age of 40, which has never been done. And the Patriots, that's kind of an odd season. They started out the first 4 games with one of the worst defenses in the league. Actually, I think the worst defense in the league after the first 4 games. They started 2-2 and really turned it around since then. I think they've had the best points per game defense. They've given up the least amount of points since week 5 through the remainder of the season. So since they were the worst defense in the league, they've actually probably one of the top 2 or 3 defenses in the league since then. But that's Patriots football. It's Bill Belichick and that defense. They can turn it on a dime, it seems like. But a great season once again this year for the Patriots, and it's going to be an interesting matchup. I know some expecting, especially the quarterback comparison. The quarterbacks in the game. Tom Brady, an all-time great, potential Hall of Famer, going up against Nick Foles, backup quarterback who's been really iffy in the league. Some look at that matchup and just say it's just obviously going to be the Patriots, but I expect a close game. The Patriots never really run away with Super Bowls. I think their biggest deficit was last year in overtime when they scored the touchdown to go up 6 to clinch the Super Bowl. That was their biggest margin of victory in a Super Bowl. It's been typically 3 and 4 points, and that's about what the spread is right now. I think it's a 4.5-point spread for the Patriots, but I expect probably a 4 to 6 point game either way, and I think the Patriots are going to come out on top. I think they get about a 6-point victory. I think it's going to come down to the Patriots having probably a 6 or 7 point lead, and the Eagles need to have a drive to tie it or potentially win it. And I just think the Patriots are going to hold on. They typically always hold on in those games, with the exception of if they play the Giants. It seems like Eli Manning and the Giants always end up with one of those last drives, but I think it's a lot to expect of Nick Foles coming into this game, late in the game, to come up with a big drive, and it just seems like a Belichick defense always just puts up that wall to finish out a game. They're always tough to score on in fourth quarters, and it's going to be tough for the Eagles to win in the end like that. So I expect about a 6 to 7. I think the Patriots will cover with about a 6 or 7 point victory, but I think it's going to be a close game throughout, and I think it's just going to come down to the Eagles needing to come up with a drive to potentially tie the game or even win it if it's about a 4 or 5 point game. But I think it's going to be a 6 or 7 point victory. I'll go 6-point victory. How about that? 6-point victory for the Patriots, but we'll see what happens. I know going back to last year, the Falcons got up big because they had a high potent offense last year, one of the top 10 offenses all time, got out to a great lead and just couldn't hold on to it as the Patriots came back. So I think there's that potential that the Patriots could get down, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Patriots got down like they did last year coming into the fourth quarter, 7-10 points. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me, but I just expect the Patriots to make the plays late that are necessary to win. I think it's going to come on the defensive side, basically clamping down on the Eagles' offense late to secure the victory. So that's what I'm expecting out of the game. And I think it's going to be competitive, though. I really think it's going to be competitive regardless of that quarterback matchup with Foles and Brady. Eagles got a good defense, well-coached team as well. Doug Peterson's done a great job in there coming in and turning around that team quickly, which it helps having Carson Wentz, and we could really be looking at a big matchup if Carson Wentz was in this game because he can make plays with his feet and not only his arm. So probably a different matchup you're probably looking at. Might be looking at the Eagles being favored in the game if Carson Wentz was playing, but not the case. But Nick Foles is a capable quarterback. He's had his moments, and you want him to have the moment at the right time. He certainly had it last week in that NFC title game. But if he can duplicate that on this stage, not sure. We'll see, but certainly capable. He is a capable backup of putting up big numbers with a big performance. So we'll see what happens. A very intriguing matchup, certainly. And if Nick Foles were to pull it off with a late game drive to win it, what a story that would be. A backup quarterback leading the Philadelphia Eagles to a Super Bowl championship over the dynastic New England Patriots and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick on the defensive side and what he does with that defense. It'd be an amazing story, certainly, for the Philadelphia Eagles. So we'll see what happens. I'm expecting a good game, competitive game up in Minneapolis, of all places. I know it's certainly a payoff for Minnesota building that stadium up there, that new stadium for the Vikings, and that's about all it is, because the coverage up there just hasn't been the same. They're typically all the networks, sports networks especially, just take off and really just fill out the city, and a lot of events and festivities going on through the week. Just haven't seen that this week. A lot of networks staying in their studios, and whether it's New York or Bristol or LA, yeah, they're pretty much staying put. It's been cold up there, right around 0 and even negative degrees during the day. It's been awful cold up there. And, of course, the Super Bowl going to be playing indoors up there at U.S. Bank Stadium, brand new stadium up there in Minneapolis. So we'll see what happens. Should be a good game, but I expect the Patriots to roll to their 6th Super Bowl championship. Unbelievable. What a run it's been for the Patriots. What a machine. And we're going to wrap up the roundtable for today. Appreciate you for tuning in as always, and we'll be looking forward to another roundtable next week, and we'll probably be getting into some district tournament previews probably in a couple weeks as we wrap up the season, regular season, and look forward to district tournament play in a couple weeks. But quite a few games still yet to bring to you here on YHC. I think we've got 2 weeks left in our regular season of broadcast next week, and then another week. We got 4 this week, then another 3 the following week to wrap up our regular season. So hopefully you'll join us along the way. Got much more basketball to bring to you, including including district and state tournament play coming up in a few weeks. So appreciate Andrew Halford joining us this morning to talk about his Malden Green Wave and the impressive season they've had so far. And we'll see you next week for another roundtable here on YHC. Take care, everyone.